afternoon, everyone. My name is Azra Grace. I chose to do my presentation about Karen Horney. Um, Also, excuse me if I stutter or if I mispronounce some words. Um, English is my second language, and I'm trying my best here. So, Karen is a German psychoanalyst slash psychologist. Um, she was in the early 1900s on to the 1980s. So we're going to take a look into her background first and then later on into her research and her career. So Karen Horney started her undergrad education at the University of Freiburg in 1906. Karen Horney began her medical studies here and is one of the first universities at the time that admitted women. She then went on to continue her studies at the University of Göttingen and the Universities of Berlin. She ended up earning her medical degree in 1913 from the University of Berlin. After she completed medical school, she trained at the Berlin Psychoanalytic Institute, where she studied the Freudian psychoanalysis and began her early clinical work. After that, she started practicing as a psychoanalyst and an instructor at the Psychoanalytic Institute of Berlin in the 1920s. She then later on immigrated to the United States in 1932, and she actually moved to New York and began teaching at the New York Psychoanalytic Institute. She then later on had some disagreements with Orthodox Freudian analysts, and she founded the American Institute for Psychoanalysis in 1941. She then later on helped establish the Association for the Advancement of Psychoanalysis. She also served as the editor of the American Journal of Psychoanalysis. So she was very much into psychoanalysis, which later on brought her to be a big part of psychology with women. So, looking at her research, she mostly focused with feminine psychology, neurosis and personality, and also self and identity. So, for feminine psychology, she critiqued Freud's idea of penis envy, basically that men are superior to women. She also proposed that psychological differences between men and women are mostly shaped by culture and society than biology, because at the time people were really hyper focused on how men and women differ so much psychologically, and that women were kind of the lesser being and below men psychology wise. But she brought up the idea or the theory that it has something to do with culture and society rather than biology. She also introduced the concept of womb envy, which is the idea that men may envy women's ability to bear children because it is something that they can't do and they can never do. Neurosis and personality. She developed a theory of neurotic needs. They're patterns of behavior people use to cope with anxiety. She also emphasized how early childhood experiences, particularly in relationships, affected personality development as a person grew and became an adult and later an elder. She also focused on self and identity. She actually distinguished between the real self, who a person really is, truly is, and the idealized self, which is like a false or a fake version that is created to meet societal or personal expectations. She also believed that self-realization was key to psychological health, so being, self-aware, which is obviously important. So we're gonna speak a little about why I decided to researcher for this presentation. So first, she was one of the first women to to challenge uh to challenge the male dominated theories of her time and offer a more accurate and empowering view of women's psychological development, instead of constantly beating down on women and how their psychology works. Her work also helped shift the focus of psychology from purely biological expectations and explanations to include a powerful influence of culture, relationships, and social expectations, mostly on women, of course. Not only did this open the door for feminist psychology, but also laid like the basics for modern ideas about self-esteem, identity, personal growth. Um, it also made her contributions both historically important and also relative today, and relevant, because we of course still have almost the same thoughts and ideas that she also had, which is amazing for her time. I mean, it was in the 1900s, which is a very long time ago. So for my resources, I mostly did use websites. These two were the main websites that I used to gather all the information that I did today. I provided the links for them too. And that's going to be it for today. Also, all the pictures that I included today are actually Karen. Right here. Right here. So I hope you learned something new today. That'll be all for my presentation. Thank you very much.